Hello all and welcome to this video. In this particular video, I am going to discuss about the resources that you need for this particular course. This course is about 30 important lessons that we need to understand to crack the DevOps interview. Hence, everything that I'm going to teach you would be in this particular repo. As you can see, the repo is organized from lesson 1 to lesson 30. And this README is going to give you complete picture of what we are going to go through the course and will be a navigating guide for you when you want to understand a particular topic later on also. This link should be accessible and I'm going to give this link with the resource section so you can access it. What I recommend you though is to download this link and have it locally in your editor. Once you download this link, that is git clone and download, this should appear in your editor and you should be able to see all the lessons just like I have mentioned here. Now, as this is a advanced course and not for someone beginner, I am not telling you how to download this repo or how to use any of your favorite editor. I'm assuming here that you already know all of this. This course is designed for someone who already know Docker, who have some experience in the IT industry and know the fundamentals of it. Yet, if you have issues cloning this repo, or if you want me to cover this topic, feel free to mention them in the comment section and I'll create a video focusing on that later on. Now let's go through this README so that I explain you how this course is actually divided into. The first section, or let's say the first 5 topic, will be on the basics of Docker. In this, we are going to cover fundamental topics like what is Docker, why do we use it, how do you do installation and setup, then Docker image and containers, Docker file basics, and running your first container. Remember, I'm not going to teach you these concepts, but all of this will be again in the interview mode. Now, how would they ask you the question on what is the fundamentals of Docker? What if they ask you, how do you install Docker in your organization? Then they ask you questions around Docker image and containers. Around this, in the interview, how would that concept be explained? This would be refreshed as a part of this particular course. And if possible, I will also be presenting an answer if this question appears in the interview. This course is 20% to 30% theory, let's say. Then there is another 50% that is practicals where I actually run the commands and show you the issue or show you how certain how certain things are done in Docker. And then another, let's say 30% would be mostly on presenting the answer in the interview or why they are asking this question in this interview, etc. The rest is, of course, you practicing it, which I'm definitely sure that you are going to do. Now let's go to the next topic, that is the medium level. Okay, in the medium level, we have approximately 15 questions or topics that we are going to discuss. In this, we have topics like Docker volume, networking, Docker compose, multi-stage Docker file, environment variable, Docker port mapping and how does it work, image layers and caching. It's a bit different than multi-stage Docker files. Then we are going to speak about Docker registry and image management. In this case, I'm going to speak about AWS ECR. Well, I can also speak about Docker registry, but basically many companies are using AWS and you might end up putting most of the Docker image in ECR. So I'm going to focus on that. Docker health checks, logs and debugging, Docker build context, and Docker ignore. This question actually was recently asked in one of the interview for me is, can you explain why do we have .docker ignore file while we already have .git ignore file? It's a bit of a tricky question, but we need to tell why .docker ignore file exists. What is the purpose of it? What value does it bring? You're going to understand all of that in this particular section. Then we have the Docker restart policies, resource management, then interactive containers, Docker tagging, and versioning. That is approximately 15 questions in the medium level from lesson number 6 to lesson number 20. After this, we move on to the complex level, that is 21 to 30. In the complex level, we have around 10 questions. And in this 10 question, again, we speak about Docker Compose, multiple service application, Docker networking advanced concepts, secret management, then Docker Swarm basic, I might actually change this later on because I already got a feedback that a Docker Swarm is not used a lot. But as a part of Docker, even though if it's not used, it makes sense to understand Docker Swarm and know why it existed before. While I say that because many companies are not using Docker Swarm now. Well, then we move on to Docker security best practice, multi-architectural builds, Docker CI/CD, performance optimization, monitoring observability, and troubleshooting and advanced debugging. Now, so if you see the learning path I have mentioned here, we start with some beginner's question or beginner's concept. Then we move to intermediate user's concept and the advanced user concept. As I mentioned earlier, and I keep mentioning, this course is for people who have been in the industry for some time, who know Docker already, or someone who has taken a Docker course and want to quickly understand how to crack interviews and what are the 30 concepts that I should know to crack the DevOps interview. Hence, we are going to start with the beginners so that you get to the flow and you also understand my teaching methodology. And by the time you reach the intermediate and advanced stage, you will be completely understanding most of the concepts. And with each concept, I'm still going to explain why that concepts exist. We're going to do some practicals around it. And then finally, I'm going to present an answer if this question appear in the interview, which is the most important part for this course also. Moving on, let us speak about how to get the best out of this course, right? Now, the video formats. I have made my best effort to keep all the videos between 17 to 10 minutes, but sometimes some of the videos could be from 12 to 15 minutes. Now, why is that? Trust me, the attention span of a student as of now is not even 7 minutes. It's really hard. We get distracted quickly. Hence, I've tried to keep this as short as possible, but in some cases, if the concept requires more time, I've spent quite a bit of time explaining this information. Needless to say, if in any video, if you feel that the concepts need to be a bit more longer, please leave a comment. I'm going to create a new video for you. Okay? Then, what is the best way to benefit out of this course? First, you need to follow the order. Don't jump into different sections directly. I know some people would be like, hey, you know what? I know all the basics. I'm going to jump to the next section. If you're confident, feel free to. But, going through the basics 5 questions would not take a lot of time for you. Hence, follow the order. Run everything that I run. I hope you have Docker locally. And considering that, you should be able to run every single command that I'm going to show you. See the logs, understand them, okay? And then try to use multiple container. I have not used the Docker run detach method. Now, what do I mean by it is there is a configuration called as -d, which will detach your Docker commands or detach the container from your terminal so you can run other commands. I have not done that purposefully in this course so that you actually see the logs. We use multiple containers. And why? Because this is how the development actually happens in companies. Then modify the examples if you want to play with it, take notes, and of course, practice daily. This is the best way you can get the benefit of this particular course. Well, I think I explained you what this course is about, also explained you the idea behind this course, where to find the resource, and how we are going to practice all of it. I've kept this course very, very simple. I don't have very big presentations for you. I don't have a lot of code that you have to write and understand. We're going to use the simple GitHub repository, the README files. I'm going to explain all the concepts for you by drawing them and doing a whiteboard session. And as and when required, we're going to jump into our editor. We're going to go to the lesson. We're going to open our terminal and we're going to run the commands and see the outputs. Well, that is it for this particular video. Speak with you in the next video where we're going to start our lesson number 1 or the concept number 1. Thank you and speak with you in the next video.